Morning, everyone. So today, welcome to our daily briefing today. So today is 18 August and it's Wednesday. So we go to our first part of our briefing here is recap on previous important economic data. So the first one is UK employment count change July. So the previous is negative 114.8k and the actual is negative 7.8k. So actually this one is actually really good for UK labor market because we can see that a lot of people are getting job now. So the claimant count is getting lesser and lesser means a lot of people getting their job. Okay, so the next one is US retail sales ex autos, which is core retail sales, monthly July. Okay, so previous is 1.6%, the forecast is 0.1%, the actual is negative 0.4%. This one, the actual is actually lower than the forecast, slightly lower than the forecast. Actually, this is not good for the US dollar. So the next one is US retail sales monthly July. So the previous is 0.7%, the forecast is negative 0.3%, the actual is negative 1.1%, which is not good for the USD. So the both we can see that the both previous important economic data for US one, so they are not good for not really good for the USD. But we go to our market graph here. Okay, so we can see that the US dollar index went up instead of went down last night. So we can see that from here, it's actually went up, not went down. Okay, so we go back to our PowerPoint here. So we go to the next part is the previous day market volatility recap on gold. Okay, so it's declined 150 pips last night when the US section. Okay, so let's read the factor here, what happened on the gold prices last night. Okay, so the gold prices fell slightly from their heights in more than a week on Tuesday. So spot gold fell 0.07% in late trading to 1786.19 per ounce. So it had previously hit 1795.51, the highest point since August 6. So what is the reason? So as some investors have turned to the US dollar as a hedge, as a safe haven assets. Okay, they take the US dollar instead of gold. That's why we can see that the US dollar went up last night. So that's why the gold went down last night. Okay, so the next one is the NZDUSD, the New Zealand dollar versus US dollar. So it actually declined 120 pips last night. Okay, as we can see here clearly in the market graph here. So what happened on last night? What happened on the yesterday about the NZDUSD? So the New Zealand dollar fell 1.7% against the US dollar. So as New Zealand authorities announced that they found one case of community COVID-19 spread in Auckland, and they announced city lockdown yesterday. So they found one case and then city lockdown. So that's why we can see that the New Zealand dollar went down last night. Very happy. Okay. So the next part is when it comes to today, what important economic data we have to focus. So in Asia section is the New Zealand interest rate decision in 10 o'clock just now, and the RBNZ, the press conference at 11 o'clock just now. So the first one is the New Zealand interest rate decision. The previous is 0.25%, the forecast is 0.5%, the actual is 0.25%. The data latest type is at 10 o'clock just now. This is actually lower than expected rate, is negative for or bearish for the New Zealand dollar. So we take a look on our market graph here. So we can see that the New Zealand dollar here is actually went down when they announced their interest rate decision at remain at 0.25% instead of 0.5%. So that's why we can see that is the graph here, the NZDUSD actually went down for around 75 pips. Okay, around 70 pips just now when they released their interest rate decision. Okay, so the next part is when it comes to EU section today, we have to focus on this important economic data, so which is the UK inflation rate yearly July. Okay, so previous is 2.5%. The forecast is 2.3%. Data release time is at 2 o'clock later. So if higher than expected reading, should be taken as positive or bullish for the GBP. So while lower than expected reading should be taken as negative or bearish for the GBP. Okay, so the next US session, when come to US session tonight, okay, we have to focus on this important economic data, and the most important one is the 2 o'clock midnight later for the FOMC minutes. Okay, so the first one is Canada inflation rate yearly July. Okay, so previous is 3.1%. The forecast is 3.4%. The data release time is at 8:30 at tonight. Okay, so a higher than expected reading should be taken as positive for the Canadian dollar. So while a lower than expected reading should be taken as negative for the Canadian dollar. Okay, and then the next one is US EIA crude oil stocks change 13 August. So previous is negative 0.447 million and the forecast is negative 1.259 million. Okay, so the data release time is at 10:30 tonight. Okay, so if the increase in crude oil inventories is more than expected, it implies weaker demand and is bearish for crude prices. Okay, so if the increase in crude is less than expected, it implies greater demand and is bullish for crude prices. Okay, so we have to take note on this one. The actual is higher than forecast or lower than forecast. Okay, so when come to market update today, still go. Okay, so resistance level of today is 1795. The support level is 1777. My personal opinion will take it as bearish for today. So even the trading center will take it as a decline for today. Okay, so let's read the factors here why we'll take decline or bearish for today. Okay, so the Fed started it in its July interest rate statement that the US economy has made progress towards the goal of reducing quantitative easing. So, but the industries affected by the epidemic have not yet fully recovered. So as for the US economy currently facing high inflation, the Federal Reserve emphasizes that the high inflation situation is only temporarily. So they do this, okay, quite few weeks ago and also a few months ago. So the current ultra low interest rate policy can still be maintained for a long time. Okay, so the investors are concerned about the Fed's further statement on reducing QE. The market expects that the Fed will announce its plan to reduce bond purchases next month. So they will begin their QE QE reduction next month. So at the same time, the market will look for clues as to when the Fed will begin to reduce bond purchases. Okay, so the gold price may usher in a turning point after closing the doji on yesterday. So what is the doji here mean? So we take a look on the gold market graph here, and then we change it into the daily candlestick, and then we can see here clearly. See here, this is the doji here on yesterday. So this is doji, what that mean? Okay, so with greater resistance in the 1790 to 1800 range, and the price of gold may be under pressure to go down. Okay, on today. So in the day, focus on the FOMC meeting minutes. Okay, so that's all for the briefing today. I wish you have a good day and we'll see you again. Bye bye.